And basically that was the only time I ever saw tetanus in cows. So, yeah, garbage is one place. Don't let them eat it. No animal should eat the garbage that you throw away, to be honest with you. But anyway, so that's the vaccination in cows. IVR in goats or sheep. But goats have their own vaccinations. What we use is the CDT, which is again a Clostridium for enterotoxemia and tetanus, because goats and sheep are also very susceptible to tetanus. So we probably dehorn over 1,000 little goats a year. People bring from all over the place. We don't give them anesthetic because we are done in a couple minutes. We have a box made. We put those little kids in there, stick their head out, electric burn, both the sides, and yeah, they scream bloody murder, but that's all they do anytime, anyhow. So, you know, you let them scream a little bit, and the minute we're done, and you turn on with mom, you say, okay, food, and you start nursing. So yes, pain for animals is important, but it's not like in humans. Animals will not show pain because that means weakness. And when an animal is weak, guess what? Here comes the predator and takes care of them. So they don't show the pain. And yeah, the next day, basically, they're butting heads again, so we don't do it without anesthetic. We had a lady that came from 2 hours away with kids to be dehorned. She says, yeah, I'm coming here because the local veterinarian wanted to give him an anesthetic. And she gave the anesthetic to the kids, and 2 of the 3 died. Because goats cannot take anesthetic worth the darn. Maybe a little tranquilizer, if you ever do C-section on goats, maybe a little tranquilizer and local. I think that's most veterinarians that are large animal veterinarians have had experience with that, oh my gosh, we got the kids out to know the goat is dead. You don't want that. So this is the thing, you have to know what kind of animal, what you can use for those things. And through the experience of many years, I've learned a little bit, and still I'm learning every day. Sheep and because we had them before, right, Diane? We had goats and we had some sheep. Sheep do not listen to electric fences. Oh, I know, right? So when the goats are there, they don't like regular fences. They just climb over the top. You need a big wooden fence without holes to keep sheep and goats together in the same pasture. It's fun. But anyway, goats are very, agile and all the jumping things. Sheep are very susceptible, so they cannot have the same minerals either. Goats can have copper, need copper. Sheep, just a little bit of copper, and they died. Charles, my son, wanted to have some sheep, and they were fixing some drinking water, and there was copper wire, electrical wire sticking out. One of the sheep chewed on it, and it died. I did an autopsy, and yes, you see a yellow liver instantly. So, a very little bit of copper already built these sheep. So make sure that, when you go to the elevator, you get the right minerals for these animals. Okay, there's a lot more that you can see about cows and everything. What we see with cows and horses and everything is that you have to keep every make sure that there's not too much clover in one side. And when we have remedies, that's fine. When they overeat on clover, many times they get the diarrhea, and yes, those things are still over the counter. There's not always antibiotics that you have to use. The biggest problem now is for that it's the QR code here someplace, where you can find out more questions from the FDA. Where the FDA now has not allowed people to buy antibiotics over the counter. To me, it's a little redundant because we don't use the same antibiotics in humans as in animals. And when penicillin came out during the Second World War and saved a lot of people, they figured the dosage. And if you look on the bottle of penicillin, it says 1 cc per 100 pounds. 1 cc per 100 pounds won't do anything. That is way too low. Many years ago, when I was in a home practice, we had a big cow, like 1,500 pound Holstein, that had mastitis. We treated it. 3 days later, got mastitis again. Treated it. 3 days later, had mastitis again. I got sick and tired of it. 1,500 pound cow. I gave it 100 cc of penicillin at one time. The next day, it got 50, and the day after, it got 50 cc. Never had mastitis again. The thing is, you cannot kill an animal with penicillin. But how many doctors are using penicillin in humans? Hardly anymore. So we still have it because the fear is that bacteria become resistant to these antibiotics. But animals have hardly lived long enough to see the bacteria become resistant. That's been my experience. So penicillin still works in certain cases. But you have to do a very big dosage in order to do it. When horses get the, strangled, it's a bacterial infection, it's a strep. And yes, we have a lot of armies in our practice, and they don't always vaccinate. Now, personally, I hate the vaccination for horses, for strangles. You know where it goes? Up the nose. But you know what horses like to have stuck up the nose? Nothing. So even when that thing goes, it works, but bacterial vaccination. So when I see the strangles and they have a temperature, I give them penicillin, at least double the dose, sometimes even higher, for about 2 or 3 days. That prevents the bacteria from spreading through the whole body, so you don't get the wild strangles. And then you stop, because then these abscesses have to break through. So the armies are liniment. They have all their home remedies, and they start rubbing the liniment on, they break through, and then the next thing, what I do is flush it. There again. But I have found out that works real good, and remember that. You take a pint of peroxide, pour a little bit out, put 20 cc of penicillin in there, and use that to flush abscesses. That peroxide carries penicillin in all those little crevices, and they heal up 5 times faster. 20 cc of penicillin in a pint, and it works. So once it breaks through, make sure that they are removed from other horses, because that's when they are infectious, because the bacteria is in that pus, and then let them heal up. And yes, as long as they have called me, knock on wood, I have not lost a horse with the strangles. But I've seen others that you don't do it, that they die. So hit them hard and hit them good, and then quit. So antibiotic that the FDA is now working about, yes, it is a little strange for me that they say no more antibiotics on the farm, because it does not. The bacteria is on the antibiotic. The worst bacteria that we had was the bovine tuberculosis and the abortus banks. I don't know how it is in Wisconsin, but in Michigan, it's eradicated. We don't have to test for TB anymore, we don't test for banks anymore. The cows can just be sold as they are, except in the northeastern part of Michigan. I told you already that we have so many deer in Michigan, and the deer in that area, let me go a little bit back. The people in Detroit, the rich people, wanted to have a hunting area in the northeast part of Michigan, and they wanted the deer behind every tree. So what they do, they start feeding it. When you feed wild animals, do they get bigger? No. They reproduce. So we have, I don't know how many deer, big population in that area. Well, if you don't feed them anymore, because then the DNR said you cannot feed anymore, you cannot bathe them, they got hungry, so they jumped in with the cows. And there was still some TB left, bovine tuberculosis, in those deer. So they brought her back to the cows. And now they are still testing, 20 years later after it happened. The farmers that are in the area don't have any more cows. I thought the farms that were depopulated 3-4 times. If one cow in the herd has TB, the whole herd goes. And I don't understand why we don't let the National Guard in there and do target practice on the deer. Butcher them. That we have meat inspectors. They can tell kids. You know, when all these kids are going hungry, venison tastes good. I like it. So if that's good, let's sell it. But get rid of all those deer that are infected. In 5 years, it'll be populated again. Because when there's food, they move. So that's my theory, and probably won't work at all. But anyway, let's see what else we can talk about. Now I need my glasses. Sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah, rotational grazing, I already told you about that. And sorry about that. Yeah, the biggest problem now is also when they're getting curative. When you need antibiotics, you have to go to the vet. And we have to be on the farm once a year at least, what you call a valid client-patient relationship. I don't know how serious that is. I don't have anybody that said, you know, have you been there?